Oh, you're gonna love this. NASCAR shakes up the 2026 finale. We talk about why Jesse Love was disqualified. And is Rockingham ready for Cup? Let's talk about it. What's up, everyone? My name is Jed. Welcome back to the episode of Inside Lines. We're having a wonderful Easter Monday. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter. Let's get into it. News, talk about the 2026 finale. We know this year is going to be at Phoenix. 2026 is heading to South Beach, where it belongs. Homestead-Miami Speedway, going to Jordan Bianchi. NASCAR will host a championship race weekend in 2026 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Now, I mentioned this last month, and the reason why I'm saying this is because there was a lot of people that were saying that I had no sources, or that people were saying that, oh, you're just a YouTuber, I said this. So I'm just saying, anyone that came at me for saying I was wrong, I told y'all this last month. So anyways, I digress. Now, yes, Homestead will be the championship race weekend finale in 2026. However, it won't be for 2026 beyond. This will actually be the beginning of what has been talked about in the garage for some time about a rotation, a yearly rotation, kind of like what they do with the Super Bowl, where a city or a racetrack will have the championship race depending on whichever year NASCAR will come to town. So for 2026, it will be Homestead-Miami Speedway, but for 2027, it could be at a different racetrack. That includes Phoenix. Phoenix will be part of the championship rotation, and it will have two races this year in 2026. So that's something we know so far. We know that Daytona will start the season, we know that Miami will end the season, and that Phoenix will have two dates. That has been confirmed. Now, if you remember how this deal was supposed to come about for Miami, was that the track president, Guillermo Santa Cruz, and NASCAR, they were working behind the scenes with elected county officials in the state of Florida and the greater Miami convention to be able to create a package, a financial package to be able to support it. Because nowadays, if you want the championship finale, you get to bid for it. You have to basically pay NASCAR to be like, hey, have the championship race happen at our racetrack. That's how it works nowadays. And Homestead-Miami, they were figuring out how to be able to create that package. And while it has not come to fruition yet, has not finalized yet, NASCAR has said that based on for the greater the sport, for the good of the sport, we should return to Miami because it is a fan favorite and it is a driver's favorite. Even though, despite the lack of current financial commitment from the local community, NASCAR stated that they will cover the necessary expenses to ensure that this event is a success. So it is nice to see that the city of Homestead is trying, they're actively trying. NASCAR wants to bring it back, and hopefully they're able to make something work so that Homestead can be a success. Because to take a step back, the issue with NASCAR's first iteration at Homestead, ever since we went to this Championship 4 finale back in 2014, the Homestead-Miami Speedway has been the finale from 2014 to 2019, but you would not know that. Homestead, and for better terms, didn't really care that it had the championship finale for the longest time. And this is coming from someone in South Florida. I'm like 40 minutes an hour away from the racetrack, and I can tell you there was little to no promotion. Like, you would have no idea that Homestead was in town when it had the championship finale during that time frame. You would have no idea that NASCAR was in town. Nowadays, I am seeing so much promotion just for the spring race this year. So many TV commercials, so many radio commercials, posters, billboards. I saw so much of just for the spring race. So I can only imagine what's going to be like for the championship race weekend. And hopefully it is a success. Now, let's talk about the next part, the rotation. What could be in this championship rotation? Well, there's some things we have to knock out. Daytona Talladega, I pray Daytona Talladega is not in the rotation, including Atlanta. It has to be a mile and a half. I can't see it being a short track. I don't think Bristol, Martinsville, Richmond, I don't think that's is going to be in that rotation. It will more than likely be at tracks that are in large city markets and have good racing. But that makes your sample size very small. One track immediately comes to mind is Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a really good racetrack, and it's in a marquee city. So that is something that NASCAR could definitely take a look at. Obviously, you can stay in Homestead, build with that. Phoenix has done a tremendous job, I should say, promoting and marketing this event, despite the racing not being that great. They've done a great job promoting it, so it makes sense. It's in the rotation. They've invested a lot into this racetrack and promoting NASCAR. You could look at maybe Charlotte, Charlotte, maybe get rid of the Roval and just have the championship finale return to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Charlotte is a growing city, and it's also a really good racetrack. Kansas Speedway is another one. It's another great racetrack, and it's 20 minutes from downtown Kansas. However, and this does play a factor, is weather. NASCAR has said that weather will play a role in this, and Kansas in November? Stupid cold. So yeah, the sample size is very small for what NASCAR can do or where NASCAR can go. But I'm very interested in seeing how they handle this championship race weekend from 2026 onwards. But regardless, happy that Miami is back where it belongs as a championship finale. Next I'm going to talk about is Jesse Love. Now Jesse Love, he won the Xfinity race on Saturday, but later that night he was disqualified, giving Sammy Smith the race win for his first win in 2025, and also takes home $100,000 by winning the Dash for Cash, which will pay for his fine at Martinsville. So yeah. Now the reason why was because he violated a rule that covers the trailing arm spacers and pinion ankle shims. Now the series director Eric Peterson commented by saying that all mating surfaces of those parts need to be in complete contact with each other, and unfortunately they violated that rule and were disqualified. Now Bozy Tatarevic, again I'm pretty sure I butchered that, my apologies, he had a complete thread on Twitter kind of explaining what could possibly have happened that caused the disqualification of Jesse Love's number 2 Chevrolet. I will leave that in the description box down below, but basically, according to the NASCAR rulebook, if that is 0.0110, so 1/100th of an inch more of a gap, then NASCAR will consider that component to not be in complete contact. And it's regarding this section right here of the trailer arms on the left side, the track bar mount. This whole section right here has to be in complete contact. Everything that's connected to it must be in complete contact. Now, the reason why that is important, why it must be in complete contact, was because it can be an aero advantage, as you can make the car crab walk or skew in a manner that gives you an aero advantage. Case in point, the 2008 All-Star Open with Sam Hornish Jr., where that car was basically sideways but still going straight, giving it a massive air advantage, especially when it goes into the corner. So let's say this, for example. Let's say the car is skewed and it's entering the corner. The air will be hitting the side of the car, allowing it to go straight. That gives an air advantage to the driver. They can use more throttle input. They can go faster. So that's why NASCAR has this rule in place. Now, RCR is appealing this decision. I don't know what they could be appealing about, but it could be because maybe more than likely that this happened, something that was done on accident. It could be an incident on the racetrack. Maybe Jesse Love hit another driver, because Jesse Love was in some very sketchy moments, either with the wall or with other cars. Him and Carson Quaffle had a great battle, made contact a couple times. That could have maybe done something to adjust or loosen the trailer arm. I don't know, but that's something I think that maybe RCR could be taking a look at. And finally, Rockingham itself. It was a great race weekend, sold out crowd on Saturday. Over, I think I saw 20,000 sold out, but I saw reports that said that maybe over 30,000 sold out the race. But what everyone wants to know is, what does the future of Rockingham look like for the Cup Series? Because that is the main goal. Ben Kennedy said that, they want to get the Cup Series back to Rockingham Speedway, but is it ready yet? The answer is no. Rockingham is not ready yet. There are still some things that need to take place. There's still some modifications, some upgrades that Rockingham Speedway needs to have before the Cup Series is ready to return to the Rock. Bob Sargent, who is the president and CEO of Track Enterprises, is one of the, a race promoter company, one of the best ones in the country. They were handpicked by NASCAR to be able to help engage with the racetrack and to help ready it for Rockingham's return this weekend. And according to him, a lot of positive comments, a lot of positive things to say, a lot of just good energy from NASCAR, from the track, from the fans, from the drivers. Everybody was just raving about Rockingham Speedway. But like I said, there will be some upgrades that will be necessary in order for the Rock to be ready for Cup Series racing. I mean, here is the thing. I do think that maybe not a points race in the near future, but definitely an exhibition race. You look at North Wilkesboro, right? North Wilkesboro had basically a cleanup. They got repaved and had a cleanup, and they were able to host a lot of late model races, Cars Tour events, and then the following year, I believe they were able to host the All-Star race. I could definitely see something like that happen, where maybe for 2026 or 2027, North Wilkesboro ready to have a points race, and then Rockingham could replace North Wilkesboro as an all-star race, or maybe the Busch Clash, or I should say the Cookout Clash, depending on what happens with Bowman Gray Stadium. So I definitely could see a possibility where we could see Rockingham return next year as an exhibition race, maybe as a points-paying race a little bit further down the line. But regardless, I think it's great that NASCAR is actively trying to return to Rockingham Speedway, to return to these old racetracks, the racetracks that help NASCAR get to where it is in the first place, while at the same time branching out to new markets. That is something that NASCAR shot themselves in the foot back then. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but that's something that they did horribly wrong back then, was that they left the tracks that helped them get to where they were in the first place and just decided to chase after those new markets. Instead, of doing both at the same time. I saw someone on social media that were saying on how this is why NASCAR should never go to markets. They should go to Rockingham, go to these homegrown racetracks, and that is the completely wrong mindset to have. The perfect mindset to have is what NASCAR is doing now. Go to these tracks, Rockingham, North Wilkesboro. Go to these tracks that help build you up to where you are in the first place, while at the same time branching out to new markets like what they're doing in Chicago, like what they're doing in San Diego, going to Mexico, maybe Brazil, depending on what that situation is going. I think what NASCAR is doing right now, one of the few things they're doing really, really good right now is how they're approaching the schedule, and I'm very excited to see what 2026 could possibly bring. But that is it for this episode. Let me know in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on any of the 3 stories that we talked about? As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Thanks for watching.